Welcome to Watch It or Don't. I'm Matt, here with Kat.
Hello.
And today we'll be doing a spoiler review for Spider-Man Homecoming.
In theaters July 7th.
And again, this is a spoiler review.
There will be spoilers.
So you have been warned. Jumping right into it, there are two credit scenes, which some of you might have read about. The first one, we see Michael Keaton in prison. He does not die in the movie. I know there was a big hubbub on the internet not that long ago that talked about, oh, we only signed a deal for one movie.
Right.
I think we'll probably see him again, and even if we don't, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
But we see him in jail, and he runs into a character we see for only a few seconds, Michael Mando. He turns out to be the Scorpion, and they have a little dialogue that maybe they're trying to set up the Sinister Six.
Yeah.
I'm not sure necessarily, because Michael Keaton's Vulture acts like he doesn't know who Peter Parker is, even though he definitely knows who Peter Parker is.
Right.
So who knows if they'll end up working together, but it's possible.
Either way, I think Michael Keaton was great as the Vulture, and I think that Michael Mando will be great as the Scorpion. So
True.
It's a win-win there.
It is.
The second credit scene and the last credit scene was Chris Evans as Captain America, basically doing one of those videos. They did these videos throughout the film, I think there were 2 or 3 of them, where they kind of showed these high school motivation videos from Captain America being like, do good in school and like succeed in gym class and you're gonna be great, and basically just being that like role model figure. And in the end credit scene, he goes in front of the camera and he basically says, you know what's a really important thing? Patience. And he just kind of like messes around with the audience and saying like, you guys all waited to this after credit scene and you're just getting this.
Yes. It was a
Which
pretty good
it was
troll.
funny. Yeah, it was funny.
And people laughed. It was all in good spirit.
Yeah.
Going from there, the other big spoiler. I know it was in the news and it was something that people were talking about involving Mary Jane.
So Zendaya, her character is Michelle in the film, and she kind of plays like a, I guess not like a huge role, but just kind of like a little side role throughout the film that she pops up all the time, and she kind of plays a sneaky little role. And at the end, she says, my friends call me MJ.
So technically she's not Mary Jane, but she goes by MJ.
Yeah.
So we can't call her a liar, but at the same time...
We all know.
And you could hear the audience kind of go, yeah.
I'm curious.
Yes, but I don't think anyone was too surprised.
No.
They knew something was going to happen with that because they made such a big deal about it.
Yeah. Then the other character that comes up a lot is Peter Parker's love interest, who is played by Laura Harrier.
She turns out to be the daughter of the Vulture.
Right.
Which some people heard about that online, or that got leaked through like the novelization of the movie, but honestly how they handle it in the movie is beautiful. They have the whole montage of him getting ready for the school dance, which is like a classic high school movie. Like the way they film that is really neat.
Yeah.
And then when they show the reveal of Michael Keaton being the dad, it just works really well. I don't know if it's because it's Michael Keaton and him being sort of that dad bringing both his daughter and this random guy that he's never met to a school dance. Something about that was like really perfect.
You have like the double awkward tension of like, oh, this is a guy bringing this man's daughter on like a date, which always has that awkward like dad tension.
Right.
Like, oh, I gotta teach this boy how to be a good man for my daughter. Like you've got that awkward tension, but then on top of that, you've got this like.
Peter Parker at this point knows that Michael Keaton's the Vulture, and that's why there's that second sort of awkwardness.
And then
Michael Keaton slowly starts to figure it out throughout the scene, and then they have a very intense car like sort of speech with each other. You've seen it in the trailers, which is one of my big problems with this movie, is that the trailer gives away a lot.
Yep.
Quite a lot.
It does.
There's not too much that you're missing.
Yeah.
Which is too bad. One of the other spoilers that people want to know about, they do show the Iron Spider suit. After the whole thing kind of wraps up and Michael Keaton gets arrested, Tony wants to reward Peter Parker. So he's like, you need to try the suit on and we're going to talk to the big press corps.
Before this, Tony Stark had taken away his suit. And so he, in the big like end scene with Spider-Man and Vulture, it was basically him in his original Spider-Man suit that he had made himself. Right. So, basically as a reward, he's like, I feel bad for for not like believing in you, so here's the Iron Spider. And
then it turns out Peter Parker turns him down. Yeah. And he thinks it was like a test, and it turns out, no, he was being completely serious, Tony Stark, as usual, because coming out of the door that Peter Parker doesn't go in is Gwyneth Paltrow, who we haven't seen in a while.
And she was out there with a bunch of like press and people ready to like take pictures of
the new Spider-Man.
Yeah, of Spider-Man.
And then in that scene we see that it looks like Iron Man and her Pepper Potts are finally going to get married.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I liked seeing Happy from the first couple of Iron Man movies. Crazy that he directed, the first one obviously and the second as well. To see him back and pretty comedic role.
Yeah.
He's again the chauffeur as usual, and
he plays a good like little additional character to the film.
Yeah, and I like the relationship between him and Peter.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. For the movie, all in all, I love the pacing.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of goes back to what I said before, though. The trailer really kind of ruins it for me.
Right.
I wish I never would have seen that first trailer that came out.
I don't think it ruins it.
Well, it does for me, just a little bit, because I wanted to be surprised by something.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really any surprises. The only things that you don't see are like random sprinklings and mentions of the other Avengers. The ones you know about.
Right.
I mean, Michael Keaton stealing tech. And you see all the tech from all the other Marvel movies that have already come out.
Yeah.
And he wants, like arc reactors or, just weapons in general. And it's like,
yeah.
Okay. Part of me, and it kind of goes into my rating, part of me is a little annoyed that this really wants to, not necessarily build to Infinity War, but wants to build just on this franchise. So this is just a quick little snapshot of what's to come.
Right.
I do appreciate as sort of his origin coming into this universe. They don't do everything we've seen before because God knows after all the past Spider-Man movies, we get it.
Yeah.
So I really am glad that they did that, but at the same time, there's not enough that I was like, that was a complete movie.
I loved it.
I mean, I'll tell my score now. I give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
That might change, but it gets a 7 out of 10 for being really well made and really tight, but it just didn't go to that next level for me.
Yeah.
Which is too bad.
I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to seeing it again, which we will see it again next week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to that. But just right off the bat, and I felt like this from our first time seeing Tom Holland too. I just feel like with Tobey Maguire, and I know there's going to be people who disagree with me, so bring it on. But I think Tobey Maguire was a great Peter Parker, and I think Andrew Garfield was a great Spider-Man, but with both of those characters playing Peter Parker or Spider-Man, I didn't feel like I got the total package, and I feel like with Tom Holland, you get the total package. I
agree with that.
For bringing in someone who is like younger and not well known and just kind of like a random guy up until this point, I think he does a great job. And I think that he's like perfectly cast for this role, and he is like believable on all sides. I think this movie does a good job at showing that he is a good Spider-Man on his own, but also like showing that, Tony Stark obviously has helped him in the sense that he, made this Spider-Man suit, which in the past films wasn't the case, obviously.
Right, obviously.
So I think that they do a good job kind of like incorporating the fact that Tony Stark is like helping him, but
good
that
mentor.
he is... They don't ignore the fact that he's smart on his own.
Right.
Like, they show, him and his friend in the movie, Ned, they show the two of them working on, working on stuff and kind of like,
the suit.
being able to, do things on their own without relying on the help of Iron Man in order to get by.
I like one of the bits where he's in chemistry class and he's actually working on a recipe for web fluid.
Right.
That's pretty good.
That is good.
And I like just, even with that whole scene in the chemistry class, just to see him in high school for such a long point of time is something we haven't gotten with the other Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
And I really like that. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. Supposedly the next sort of one in this 3 will take place his junior year.
Yep.
So I'm excited.
And that'll come out, I think, they're scheduled right now for 2019, July of 2019.
I know it's starting right after this last Avengers, the untitled one.
Right.
That'll be the next one leading into the next phase.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. If you end up seeing the movie, let us know what you think in the comments. If you have any questions about the movie, please let us know. If always, this is Watch It or Don't. I'm Matt, and this is Kat.
See ya.